were getting ready to open, and the first customers came and sat down on the tables outside, and I walked out to greet them, and there were two of them there and myself, and the three of us started crying.
Wow.
The three of us started crying. I went to ask, I said to them, hello, welcome, you're our first guests. You're our first guest back, from...
Wow.
And the three of us broke down into tears. And it was so emotional. It was unbelievable.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Heart Media Podcast. Today we have Guy Grossi. He's an Italian chef, a big icon in the Melbourne hospo scene. And we loved how genuine and down to earth he was.
I would say it was a bit of an emotional episode, really cool stories, customer service, family business, ups and downs.
Juggling everyday life with all his different businesses.
Mission, purpose, travel.
He really opened up.
Big history, lots of successful ventures, some failures. Yeah, it was really beautiful to talk to Guy, I would say. Check it out. Like, follow, subscribe. Gee up. Let's go.
Yeah.
Rome was great, but we also went to some other beautiful places. Cortina, Asti, we went to Florence. So it's a very
That's on my
condensed
list,
8
Florence.
days. Oh, you've never been to Florence?
No.
When was that?
4 weeks ago, 3 or 4 weeks ago.
Nice.
We spent 8 intense days in Italy driving
that
around. It was amazing. Amazing. Yeah.
Wow, I love Italy. It's like my favourite.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's
Do you
beautiful.
speak Italian?
Sì.
Come stai?
Parli italiano te? Sì.
I don't know the answer to that.
Buongiorno.
Buongiorno.
Buongiorno, come stai? Mozzarella, parmigiano.
Burrata.
Burrata.
Ellie reckon burrata is overrated.
No. I love burrata.
I love burrata too, but I
Yeah.
agree.
You think it is?
I do. I agree.
Ooh.
I prefer mozzarella.
Okay.
Well, it's got to be buffalo though.
Mozzarella di buffalo
Yeah.
is beautiful. I don't mind the old cow milk mozzarella, but mozzarella di buffalo
Buffalo
is
is
the
the
ultimate.
best.
Yeah, 100%.
But
100%.
you know when burrata's on a pizza,
Yeah.
turns it a bit soggy sometimes,
Well,
doesn't
because
it?
it's got a lot more moisture in it. Yeah.
So it's creamy.
Creamy.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Guy, thanks for coming today. We
It's
really
a pleasure.
appreciate it. It means a lot to us.
Good. It's a pleasure to be here.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about how you started? Bring it back to
Wow.
the 90s.
Where do you bring it? The 90s? No, it goes further back than that.
Okay, let's go then.
It starts in my childhood. It starts with my father, who came out to Melbourne in 1960, and then he brought out my mum and his daughter, my older sister, and he was a chef, and he came from a little beautiful Italian village called Carosino in the south of Italy, which is a region in Puglia, which is the heel of the boot.
Ooh, beautiful.
Very
Nice, heard of
fashionable
it.
at the moment. A lot
Is
of
it?
people are going there and loving it and discovering it. Really cool.
Puglia, it has been popping
Puglia.
heaps lately.
Oh, it's popping
Yeah.
up everywhere.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
I'm going, wow, that's great. But, it's like, that's my father's home place. Recently, I visited there and spent some time in Puglia. I sort of deep dive into there and went to a few of the different cities, Bari, Carosino, Alberobello, Monopoli, a few different places. And the food's just amazing. Beautiful food, great culture, great people, great seascapes, landscapes. It's just a beautiful area.
How often do you visit Italy?
Oh, I try and get back there at least once a year if I can.
Italy.
Yeah, Italy, yeah.
Love that.
I love it.
Yeah.
It gives you a fresh, new approach,
Yeah.
you don't necessarily see brand new things every time. You just sort of get re-inspired and see how well they do things and how
way of
passionate they are
life.
about their projects and the way of life
Yeah.
and what they do.
Would you live
It's great.
there?
I would definitely, if I would live there, if I, if it was a different world, sliding doors,
Yeah.
sort of things. My family immigrated to Melbourne in 1960, as I said, and we've been here ever since, and we've loved it. Melbourne's an amazing city. But yeah, sure, sliding doors, I would go back in a heartbeat if business, like we have leaseholds and businesses here and all sorts of things. So there's things that hold you back, but there's no reason. I've been thinking about this lately. There's no reason why you couldn't have a nice little property over there and maybe
Absolutely.
do 3
I
or
was
4
gonna ask you
months
that,
and
yeah.
come back, go back and forth.
Yeah.
Because that would be brilliant.
But I mean, you're talking about responsibilities now. I'm sure you've been working for a long time. Can you just like delegate it and go and live there if your heart wants to do that?
Can, but my heart is also in my business, and my business is like part of my family and what we do.
Mm-hmm.
And as I was saying, my father was a chef. He came out here a long, long time ago, and I learned in my mother's kitchen, learning to cook with her. She was a loving mum that cooked for us out of, she made beautiful things out of virtually nothing. And you sort of learn that, then go to work with Dad at a very young age, start businesses over here and everything. And I'm very passionate about that. And I'm passionate about Melbourne. I love Melbourne.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't just pick up and leave Melbourne, because it is where my children were born. It's where my granddaughter was born, and it's part.
Were you
It's
born in
home.
Melbourne?
It's part of. Sorry, I was born here. Yeah.
Ah, okay.
They came here in '60, so I'm a lot younger than that, right?
Yeah.
So I was born here. So it is my hometown, my home, my place of birth, and where we reside, and it's beautiful and we love it. And I think to be able to appreciate your own place where you live and you love and you work every day, then that enables you to appreciate other places as well. Like if I visit beautiful cities like London, like New York, like Paris, and many other cities, Copenhagen I've visited recently, and like Hong Kong, Singapore, Tokyo, lots of other cities. You just go, wow, you see the beauty in some of these other cities.
Definitely.
Through the culture, because you love your own culture, and you go, wow, it's different, but I can see where the beauty of this is coming from. And that's where I think you get your passion from. So to answer your question in the short term, delegate, yeah, I could, but I still feel like I want to be hands-on in my business. Although my business is very much a family-run business. There's a lot of family in my business. I'm very lucky. My daughter works in the business now, my sister, my brother-in-law, my wife, my son.
So it is a family business.
It's a family business.
Along all your different venues.
Yeah.
Wow.
We're a group of people that work together very
That's
well.
so cool.
Yeah, it's cool. We have our ups and downs, But at the end of the day, we all come together and make our decisions and move on from that. And
Do you
and carry
still
on.
cook?
I do.
You do.
Look at my shoes. They've still got spots of oil
You got
and
your
stuff on them.
Birkins.
I got my
Respect.
Birkies on, yeah.
Yeah, I like
Okay.
them.
I live in
So
those.
in a particular venue, or
Usually I'm at our mothership, which is Florentino
Florentino?
in Melbourne.
Two
I
hats.
really, really want to try it.
Well, you must.
You
Can we
got it.
come?
You're a friend. Of course you can come.
Yeah.
What'd you
You're
think?
friends of the family now.
You're a
Like,
friend
please,
of the
just
family.
come along
Let's
and
do it.
we'll look after you for sure.
Thanks,
Absolutely.
guys.
We'd
Love
love to have
that.
you there. That's where we reside. That's our home, away from home.
So
and
you
then
say
we have
it's
our
the
other
ship.
venues.
Florentino.
It's our mothership. Yeah.
Okay, how long you had it for?
Well, we've been there 25 years, but the
Oh, my-
Florentino has a very long history.
Okay.
It first became Florentino in 1928. A gentleman from Lucca, which is a town of Florence, that's hence the name Florentino, started it as Cafe Florentino in 1928. So it's been there. It's coming up to its 100th birthday, and there's very few restaurants in Australia
Yeah.
that have been a continually running venue
For 100
for
years.
100 years. So it'll be about 4 years. We're about 4 years away from the the 100th birthday of Florentino. So it'll be a big sort of milestone for us.
Celebration.
For the whole
And for the whole-
industry.
and
Yeah.
for the
Of
industry,
course.
yeah, sure.
Yeah.
And do
sure.
you keep like the menu? Is any of the stuff the same?
Well, we do different things because we've adopted we've integrated our own personality and what we do into it. But there's still some things that we can't let go of, like the chocolate souffle, for example, that probably started being on the menu in around the 80s. It's not a typically Italian thing, but it's been on the menu for a long, long time. And it's quite well rewarded. A lot of people love it. And so that would never really come off the menu.
So, if we want to bring it back a little bit to when you were working with your dad, what was that like? Where was it? Did you start going cooking with him? Did you go to school? How did it all happen?
Well, I went to school. I went to a trade school, and I did an apprenticeship as a chef. And after that, I did a Cert 3, and did more study in hospitality. Did a fellowship as well because I wanted to learn more and more and more. But my humble beginnings were working with my father on weekends, school holidays. I was as young as 8 years old when he first dragged me into a kitchen. And of course, you got all the shit jobs when you're that age, and you go
Yeah.
into a kitchen, sweeping floors.
And it was his
peeling
Pot
restaurant.
sides.
wash.
No, not necessarily. It was he had restaurants through his career, but he also worked at other venues, and
Okay.
he would take me in to help out, do stuff, and you do all the stuff that a kid would do in a kitchen. And I remember I vowed to myself I would never do this job. I would never become a chef because it was so hard. Like watching my dad, how hard he worked, and like it's cold in the winter, it's hot in the summer. It was just awful. And then when I turned 15, I thought there's nothing else I want to do more.
Really? So
And-
you got the
and
bug.
I started my apprenticeship. You get the bug. That's exactly right.
Right.
You get it under your skin, and once you got it under your skin, and you got all these beautiful, like-minded people around you that they're only interested in one thing: making people happy, making sure that the job you do today is going to be a good job. You got great produce coming into your world. You want to respect that produce. You want to respect each other, and you want to make sure that at the end of the day, you feel tired, you're knackered, but you've got a sense of satisfaction
Yeah.
about what you've done.
I love
When was
that.
your first venue as Guy?
It was Quadri in High Street, Armidale. I bought that with Melissa, my wife, back in 1987. It was a little 50-seater restaurant.
How old were you?
I was 21 at the time, very young.
Wow.
That is young.
I
21.
wouldn't recommend it to anyone in the industry to do that these days, though. I think you need...
Why is that?
Well, because you need a lot more experience nowadays. Learn more, work for other people more, travel more. I was very lucky, I believe. And I had my wife with me and some really good people around me. I could still draw on my dad's knowledge and ask him questions and so forth.
Was it a success?
It was very much a success. It went very, very well. We were very lucky. It was great. It was rewarded very well. People came to it. We were very busy, and it gave us our launching pad. But I believe the industry has changed a lot since those days. It's a lot more competitive now. So,
Saturated.
there's a lot more restaurants
Yeah.
out there now.
Especially in Melbourne.
In Melbourne, lots of restaurants.
Do you? I know this is a bit of a weird question. Do you think it's like 10 times more, or?
Oh, 100 times more.
Really?
1,000 times more.
Yeah.
It's crazy more.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I would say that these days you need to be a lot more well organised before you lunge into something like your own business. And also another side of it is the funding behind it. You must...
Yes.
Because we sort of went along in the smell of an oily rag, and we got started and we could make it. But these days I think you must make sure you've got enough to survive through your first year, second year. these days, a lot of businesses go broke in their first year of business.
Yeah.
So
Even-
it's sad, but it happens. That's what happens.
Yeah, even we're seeing places with like 20 years are closing now because it's getting really tough. Like 20 years of operating. So, yeah, it's pretty tough at the moment.
Well, it's an interesting time for our industry at the moment, and not only our industry, but a lot of other industries. And it is very tough. There's a lot more challenges out there. Costs have gone up through the roof. Things have changed a lot, and so I think it's very it's a lot more challenging at the moment. But I always look at it in a positive way. Like, if you stick to your guns, you do what you do best. You might have to tighten the purse strings for a while, and then hopefully you come out on the other side fresh and looking good again. And if you do get through, when you do get through, sorry, I shouldn't say if you do get through, when you do get through, then the things will be better, and the sun will shine and the brightness will be there, because I believe our industry is an industry that will survive the hard tests of time. We've been through the global financial crisis back in the early 90s. We came through that. We got stronger after that. We've come through the C word of the last while. Let's not harp on that. But now we're seeing a lot of change. And I think that, what we need to do is make sure that we protect our industry, promote our industry, and make sure that the young people are coming back into it, that don't feel scared off by it, so that they're going, this is a bad industry to be involved with. We want people to go, have confidence and go, we want to join this industry. It's a great industry. It offers a lot, and it will be really good.
Have you ever, lost that confidence in a venture that you started, like a restaurant that didn't work, that failed?
Well, we have had failures. There's
Yeah.
no question there, and I don't know that I've lost confidence.
Yeah.
I would say I've been disappointed, and you take a haircut, but without failure you can't have success. It's that old adage. So, if you're too scared to do anything, then you will never fail, but you will never succeed as well.
Yeah.
So you got to
Take the risk.
You got to take a bit of a risk here and there, but it needs to be calculated.
Yeah.
You can't just go, let's put it all on number 25. You've got to go, well, what are the pros and cons here? And you've got to back yourself. You've got to make sure that you are confident in what you do, and you're able to think to yourself, yep, I can do this. And if it fails, I can come back from it. But, I think you need to be responsible enough to go, well, if this fails, I'm over, I'm
Still
done.
survive,
So then this is where you start to go, this risk management sort of idea. And I think when you're younger, obviously you've got more time to recover. So as you move on in years, and you go, well, and wherever you are, you might be in a different financial position to many other people or whatever, but I think that all needs to be taken into consideration.
Do you think there's a lot less younger people coming into the hospitality industry now than, say, 30 years ago?
I think that we've seen a change. We've definitely seen a change. We've seen a drop. There's been a lot of people that have left our industry, but what I see happening is that there's a lot of, you say there's a lot closing down, but there's a lot of new places opening up as well.
True.
And I think that there are younger people that are very excited about our industry. And I think, unfortunately, we've had a lot of youth that have come through our industry that haven't really treated it as, their profession. They've come through because, it's a job to get to somewhere else, which is fine. I mean, we need everyone to be involved in our business to be able to survive. And if you get, 6 months or 12 months of great work out of someone that's just studying to do something else, then, hey, if they're a good person, it's worth it. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
I love that. I really do, because a lot of people come to Australia, especially immigrants, it's like one of the easiest way to get a job is in hospitality.
Yeah.
I had to do it when I arrived to Australia, and honestly, I learned so much from it. My English got better from it, and I was actually a good worker as well. You know what I mean? So it's like it's okay for people to just go past and kind of, you know what I mean? It's not
As
for
long as they're
everyone to stay
hardworking.
there forever.
But there's a lot of people that do start in hospitality in that way and think to themselves, this is just a transient position for me, but end up
Falling in love.
falling in love with the business and going, this is where I want to be. And then they become great front of house people or great chefs. And, that's a great achievement in our world.
Yeah.
If that happens, it's fantastic. Because usually those people are the ones that decide to do it because they become truly passionate about it.
Yeah.
Speaking of front of house and that service expectations, I feel like, and I hear that from a lot of people, the level of service has not been great lately. Do you feel like the roof of expectation with service has dropped from like 30 years ago? Was it better back then?
To be honest, I think it depends where you're at in the industry. I think there's a lot of places and there's the sectors of the industry where it might be a bit blasé and service might have dropped and so forth. But I think if you look at your really good restaurants, then service hasn't declined. It's like there's expectation is still there. I think that the guest expectation has never been higher than it ever was. People have travelled. People have, it's like I was about to say, they put a lot of their money on the line when they go out to a nice experience and spend a fair bit of cash. But it's not really about the money. It's more about the time.
Yes.
You're investing time and
The memories.
the memories that you're creating. And to us, that's the most important thing for us, that these people are investing time with us. So we need to make sure that time they spend with us, whether it come into the cellar bar for a 10-minute cup of coffee and move on, or they come upstairs to Florentino for a 3-hour, 4-hour tasting menu and sit there and enjoy an entire evening, we have to make sure that we respect the value of their time, because it's something you just can't get back again.
Yeah.
Do you did shit like that to your team?
Absolutely.
Like that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We understand in our team, it's all about making sure that we create a great experience, no matter what the interaction is. And if we fail at doing that, then we need to relook at what we're doing, readjust, apologise for our failure, and make up for it.
Make it right.
Well, we have to make it
'Cause
right.
shit happens.
Yeah.
And well, it does. Of course it
It
does.
can't be
And
perfect every
you'd be
time.
naive to sit here and say, no, it's fantastic every time. It's not.
course.
Mistakes happen. Things happen. And it's a volatile situation. You've got people that are coming in from all different walks of life, and they may have had a bad day. They may have had a great day. So, they're already on different levels in their own mind and how
People
they're feeling.
project what they feel, literally.
Absolutely. So
Yeah.
you've got to make sure as a professional you bring this table of people together, and guys, we're going to make a great memory here. We're going to have
Yeah.
a great experience. And that's what the point is. We're not selling, we are selling food. We are selling wine. We are selling great beverages. But that's just a hook to get you into the place.
Speaking of memories, Guy, have you ever had a memory in your life that you feel like, fuck, I was so happy, a place where you just felt like I've accomplished something, really special memory in your heart?
In my own career,
Yeah.
well, I've been very lucky. I've had several of those, and I mentioned there's the classic ones where you've cooked for famous people, and all that sort of
Who
stuff.
are
which
they?
is
Give us some.
Oh, well, there's Tom Jones has been one of them.
I
Luciano-
love Tom Jones.
I like him too. He's very
Was
cool.
he a nice guy?
He's a very cool cat. There's Luciano Pavarotti. Like the list goes on.
You met the president of Italy once.
I did, yes.
And
We got an award from him for our promotion of Italian lifestyle, culture, and food outside of Italy.
How did that happen?
Yeah, that is so cool.
Oh, we got chosen from a lot of restaurants around the world, probably about 100 restaurants. So we were lucky to be one of the ones chosen.
Wow,
which
yeah.
was really cool.
What
yeah.
year was that, guy?
So I think it was around the mid 90s, late 90s actually, late 90s. And we got to go to Italy and receive the award with a whole lot of other
How
restaurants.
did you feel about that? Like,
Oh, that was life changing. It was great. It was beautiful. It was a great moment in a career where you go, well, you've been working hard and you're doing all this stuff, and a recognition like that, it's nice. It's nice.
it's massive.
It is massive. But the best recognition is the people that keep coming back to your restaurant and supporting you.
regulars.
And the regulars. That's our best recognition, because we know they love us and they keep coming back and they support us.
Yeah.
And they allow us a little lateral, space if there is a mistake or whatever, and they'll let us know and we'll fix it for them.
Nice. Let's bring it back to the timeline a little bit. So you started your first venue. When did you decide that it's time for a second one? Or how did you go from that one venue to a group of venues? What was that transition like?
I had ambition, I think, is one of them, one of the main driving things there, but also opportunity. And when opportunity presents itself, you sort of look at things and you go, well, is it worthwhile doing? Is it not worthwhile doing? Does it fit through the filter of what your brand is all about and what you're trying to do? And I think we're defined by a lot of the things that we didn't do, that we knocked back. Because, you don't want to do things just for the sake of doing them. But when an opportunity presents itself and you go, well, look, this fits, it works, there's a bit of risk involved, but clearly it's something we really want to do. And that's how you just grow from one to another and then another.
Staying true to yourself.
Absolutely. But also, I do always am conscious of going too far too quickly, because I feel that, that can be detrimental to what we do as well. So slowly and steady is the philosophy.
Mm-hmm.
So where you at right now? What venue is under your belt? Where are you operating? What's the goal?
Do you see a growth? Do you want any more restaurants?
We do the Florentino. We have our Ombra, our little pizzeria. The Florentino is comprised of 3 different venues: the grill, the cellar bar, and Florentino upstairs. And we have Arlequin, which we've reopened recently out the back. It's our little cool late night cocktail bar. And I also have an interest with the Western Hotel in Perth with Garum, a Roman-inspired restaurant, and with Settimo, our restaurant in Brisbane with the Western. So at the moment, I think we've got quite a few things on the go.
You got one in the MCG, is that right?
And we've got the committee room at the MCG.
I saw that.
Which is absolutely fantastic. We've loved that whole relationship with them.
How long have you been there?
It's actually gone on 3 years now. We're just going on 3 years.
Quite a while.
Are you at the Football Weekly or?
Not weekly, but I do go there as often as I can.
Yeah.
But probably won't be going for any more games this year, because on Saturday night my team lost to Brisbane.
Oh, no.
My team is Carlton.
And
they lost.
Sorry to hear that.
It was terrible. I'm sorry too. We could have won that game. Could have.
It was a tough game. I heard they didn't even score the first quarter.
The first
rubbing
quarter
it
was
in.
terrible. The first half was terrible.
Yeah.
But the second half was good. If we only played one half of football, we might have won. But unfortunately, there are 2 halves, and you've got to play for both. So
Yeah.
there you go.
I've actually been to a few Carlton games.
Yeah.
I've got a few under my belt.
Yeah.
That's
It's
good.
good. It's very, very.
Well, are you a Carlton supporter now? You
Yeah.
for Carlton? Great.
Ah.
Yeah.
Love it.
I've got a friend.
better.
who's got-
A convert.
Yeah. Got season
you go.
ticket. Not
Two-
me, but
225. That's our year.
That's it. That's
We'll
the.
be
Yeah.
going to
220.
games together, Ali.
Have you been
Yes,
telling
gotta
yourself
do
this
it.
every year?
He's cheeky.
Only for the last 25.
Fair enough. Look, I do like Collingwood occasionally.
Oh,
so.
please. Come on.
Nice. So how do you manage to like divide your time between all these venues? Like,
Look, great people. As I said, I've got great family, but I have to have great people, and I've been lucky to attract some really good people through my career, my life. So we have some fantastic members of our team, new and old, that have been with us for a long time. Not necessarily old, but old members of the team. And I move around within the venues. I spent a couple of weeks in Perth not so long ago. In October, I will go to Brisbane and spend another week at Setimo in Brisbane. Then in November, I'll spend another week in Perth with the team at Garum, and then be back here. And we're constantly working on menu updates, seasonal changes, what's going on in the marketplace, all those sorts of things. So, but I'm lucky because I have great people that I can bounce off.
You trust.
It's not a one-man band. You can't
Of course.
do it all by
Has it
yourself.
ever put a strain on your relationships with your family, working so closely with them?
It's probably the only reason why we survive as a family is because everybody's engrossed in the same thing. So there are strains. We get our bad days and our good days, and we have our barneys, but we make up, and we always come back together on a Sunday lunch or
Yeah.
whatever, and break bread and eat, and we're happy again.
so one of your kids is a chef as well?
No, Carla's front of house. Loredana's mainly communication, but she does do great front of house stuff. But they both cook really well.
Okay.
They can really cook.
But they're front of house.
But they're mainly front of house.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like, just speaking of family, like you were with your dad. I'm not sure about your dad's dad, but like, did your kids just fell into it, or was it something that was just like family pressure? Or...
No, not at all. Not at all.
Yeah,
I actually, my philosophy was to discourage them. There's a lot of other avenues open to you guys, like especially my son. It's like, you don't need to do this just to please me. Like, there's so much else you could be doing in the world. But he just really loved it because you got
It's
to
in the
understand they
family.
grew up in the
Yeah.
business. So when you grow up in a business and you're a little tiny toddler and you're coming into the restaurant to spend the afternoon there or whatever, or coming in to eat and then going home, and you're always around the place, so all of a sudden you start becoming aware of what's going on, and you become good at hospitality. You become good at what you do.
You know it better than anyone else.
Yeah, and you just fall into it, and it's in their blood. It's in their DNA.
Yeah.
So they were, no, this is what we're doing.
And you say you got a granddaughter.
I've got a new granddaughter. Oh, she's 2.5 now, but
Is
she's
that your
lovely.
daughter or your son's?
My daughter's daughter. She's
Cute.
Luna.
Oh.
Little Luna Gigi Lion. She's beautiful.
And do they live close to you?
They do. They live very close.
Everyone in Melbourne?
Oh, everyone's in Melbourne. Yeah, everyone is in Melbourne.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. I'm trying to decide where to live in Melbourne.
Where do you
'Cause
live?
I live in the CBD, right in the centre.
Well, that's not a bad place. I love the CBD. It's great.
Yeah, but the thing is, because it's all high rise,
Yeah.
so it's quite shaded.
Well, it is.
You
It
know what
can
I
be a
mean?
bit shady, but I like this area through here. Collingwood. My house
Yeah.
is in Kew, which is just,
Nice.
I believe, that way
Yeah.
from where we are.
Very close.
And
Our
we're
office
very
is in
close.
Fitzroy.
Yeah, Fitzroy.
Just round the corner.
These areas are beautiful around here.
they are.
They're very cultural.
Industrial.
Well, it's a little bit industrial, but there's also a lot going on. Great restaurants, great
Yeah.
cafes.
Yeah. What do you
can
like
walk.
around here? What restaurants do you like around here?
Oh, I didn't even mention our pub at the Clifton.
got a pub?
Yeah, at Clifton Hotel at which is in at the Q Junction,
Yeah.
which has got Puttanesca in it, and I love going there. It's fantastic. The Royal Oak Hotel is beautiful around here. There's lots of great places. Cutler and Co is fantastic around here.
Do you eat out a lot, or
I
do
eat
you
out.
cook more?
No,
At home?
I like cooking at home. Sunday lunch we spend at home. We cooked at home. Just Sunday just gone, but we do like to go out and enjoy other venues' hospitality,
Yes.
which is fantastic.
them out.
Yeah, absolutely.
What would you say your favourite kind of food is apart from Italian?
Oh,
Is
look,
Italian your favourite?
Italian is my favourite.
Yeah.
That's my cultural background. It's what we grew up on. But I really am a glutton for everything. I love all sorts of food, and I think we're really lucky in Melbourne to have such diversity. And
Yes.
it's so great that we can all get on. Apart from some silly people out there, but most of us all get on really well.
Yeah.
And we can enjoy, Vietnamese food, Lebanese food, Greek food, Spanish food, Italian food. I mean,
And there's
the
lots
list
of
goes-
each
and
one in
Korean
there.
food. And there's
Yeah.
lots of it, and it's all good quality.
Yeah, it's true.
We're spoiled
Delicious.
rotten. It's delicious.
Yeah.
Do you ever like explore cooking for restaurants in other cuisine than?
I do, but not so much through my business. But when we cook at home, we cook other different things.
Not as business ventures though.
No. I
bus-
mean, we've
yeah.
done a couple of little dabbles here and there, but and a couple of events that we do with different things.
Pop-ups, yeah.
But it's mainly like at home we might do a Greek night or a Lebanese night or a Japanese night, and
Nice.
we'll try and keep it on brand. My daughter Loredana likes to do different things, and she likes it to be on brand, not just one thing of this and one thing of that. So we might have a Mexican night where we do
Yum.
like yummy Mexican food.
Love Mexican.
Yeah, so that's the sort of thing we do.
Do you guys like you have all these venues? Do you guys have like an in-house marketing team for all?
We handle it ourselves. My sister Liz and my daughter Loredana, they handle most of that. But we also work with an external group that helps us as well, and they're a fantastic.
Because you got a
group.
lot going on.
Yeah.
okay.
But that we work with a great team. They're called Raymond Communications.
Yeah, we
And-
know them.
Yeah, they're fantastic.
They
yeah,
are.
yeah, they're really
Shout
good.
out, Raymond.
Yeah. So Joanna's a person we've known for a long, long time, and she's also a restaurant baby. She was born in restaurants through her mum and dad, and
And they just
so forth.
hosted a PR campaign, and your marketing manager was there as well. They did like a PR talk.
Oh yes,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Liz, that's my sister. She was there
That's
as
your
well.
sister, Liz. Oh, I
Oh.
see.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah. So
That's
that
awesome.
was down at the Botanical.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was good. Unfortunately, I couldn't go because I was out of town, but I was sad I missed it. Apparently, it was very, very good. Yeah.
Do you ever see yourself retiring, Guy?
I can't see it at the moment. I would like to think I'd at some point have some more time on my hands to travel a bit more and all of that sort of stuff. But at the moment, no, I can't see it. I think
No.
Why is that?
because I just feel I've got to keep going, and I
Do
don't.
you view it as work, or does it feel
It feels like I just do what I do. I don't feel like I'm
it's a
actually.
chore?
Yeah, I can't. I'm not the sort of person that will go on a holiday and sit in a resort. I could do
Yeah.
that for a day
Same.
or two, maybe. But then I've got to start moving around. I've got to start going, oh, where's good to eat?
Yeah.
Let's go find something.
Itchy
Let's go
feet.
explore. Let's go see some things. I don't. My life is lives in fast forward. It's pretty quick.
You gotta be
know?
stimulated.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it. That's it.
Yeah.
I have a very short concentration
Yeah.
span.
If I get bored,
I can't get bored. It's impossible.
we were just talking about, I just get the giggle
I
fits.
just get.
If I'm
I
bored.
just become annoying to everybody
Oh,
else.
same.
Yeah. So
Everyone's sick of me, yeah.
It's a community service that people keep me,
Keep me
on the
entertained,
move
yeah.
and entertained.
I
Yeah.
could see a guy on a reality TV show.
Yeah.
Just traveling around the world.
Oh, let's do it.
Yeah.
Eating
Oh,
nice
good.
food.
Italy,
Oh,
tour of
do
Italy.
that. Yeah, let's
Reviewing.
do that.
Maybe we should go too.
Let's
Let's
do
do
that.
it.
I'd love that. I'd love
The
that.
Heart Media tour.
There you go.
That'd be great. So, apart from Italy, are there any other cities in Europe? Would you say you're up
In
there?
Europe, that are my favourites,
Yeah.
outside of Italy. Because
Yeah.
I was just going to jump straight to Rome, but I love the south of France.
Same.
I love Paris. I haven't been to Greece, and I'd love to go to Greece properly. I've been to Crete. I had to go to Crete
Yes.
quickly for one of my very good friends' birthday parties. So we kind of skipped through Athens, but without even stopping there. But I'd love to see Greece properly. I love Spain. It's beautiful, and I've been to some beautiful parts of Spain, Madrid, San Sebastian.
Barcelona?
So you love
Barcelona.
the Mediterranean style.
I do, but I also love New York, and I've had
And the
some really good
cities.
experiences in. I love New York. It's a beautiful
Yeah.
city with great food culture, and they just have a speed about them that I like. There's energy there, and I really enjoy
There's a
that
buzz,
city.
definitely.
Definitely a buzz. The couple of times, brief times I've visited London, I've really enjoyed it as well. I have not yet been to the South Americas, which that's on my bucket list. I want to see
Yes.
Peru. And I know Mexico isn't in the South Americas, but I want to see Mexico. I want to see Peru. I want to see some of
Colombia.
the Colombia, some
Yes,
of the South
I'd
America.
love to see all
Because
that.
some of the food I see that's going on over there, I want to try it,
Yeah.
taste it, and feel the culture. So I think that's, probably next on my bucket list to go to. But, I always think to myself, like, I really need to visit Italy again because I love going back there.
It's so good.
So if we go back to the timeline, guys. So, I mean, you've done so much, you've traveled so much, you've opened so many venues, you started somewhere, you're growing. Like, have you ever felt a moment where you felt like, fuck, I feel like I made it kind of vibe, or I feel like I could relax a little
Nah,
bit?
never. In fact, the opposite to that. Sometimes I feel a bit overwhelmed, and I go, "Fuck, what have I done?" But I never feel like I've arrived and I've made it. And I think, but part of that is conscious because I feel that, and I've worked with people like that, and I feel if you are that cocky that you think you've made it, then it's time to switch off, man. Get
Yeah.
out of there because you've never made it. In our business, and I think in any business, but in our business in particular, if you think you've learned everything there is to learn, you're out, mate. You're
Yeah.
gone.
But do
because-
you feel like there's always, not just about learning, in general, like just work-life balance, do you feel like you can always be doing more? Do you have that feeling? Or do you feel like I could just kick back, work, enjoy what I have now? Or do you feel like I have to
Itching to
keep
do
pushing
more,
for that
yeah.
next thing?
I still feel like there's more to come, and I probably have slowed down a little bit in the sense that what can we do now? What can we do now? Sort of thing. But I still wake up every day, go to work, and go, well, how can we impact what we do? How can we improve on what we do? Not necessarily looking for the next big step, but what can we do to make our business, to do what we already do a little bit better? But I never say never. As I said before, if an opportunity arises, I would consider that opportunity closely and go, does this work for us?
What gets you out of bed every day? Like,
The passion of just doing a great job again and making sure that you survive in business. That's important. If you don't do that, if you don't get out of there and be motivated, then how can you expect your team to be motivated? You
Yeah.
do you guys have like a mission statement where you're like, this is what we're about, or is it all natural and
You can feel it in the
instinct,
restaurant.
or
When we were very small, it was all natural and it was done by osmosis. It was a very small team. But now we're bigger, we have more people, so we need to communicate that more scientifically. So we have it written down in our purpose of why we're there and why we're doing what we do.
And why is that? What is it? What?
Our purpose is to promote Italian culture and keep it alive and make sure that we keep producing things that oozes that Italian way of life. That's our purpose. Sometimes people say, you know, what is your purpose in your business? Oh, to make money and then, you know, make a profit and whatever. That's not a purpose. That's a result of what you do. Our purpose is to make sure that our Italian culture stays alive and that every person that comes into contact with us leaves feeling a bit better than what they did when they first arrived. Our purpose is to build those memories for them and give them that experience. As a result of that, we hope to make a little bit of profit on the way through so that then we can pay all our people, pay our suppliers, and keep doing it again.
Pay
the
yourself.
next day.
You
Yeah.
know,
And pay yourself,
for your
of
hard
course.
work, of course.
Of course, yeah.
I love that. That's brilliant.
So, guys, back to the cocky chef comment. Is there any chefs you've worked with that have been terrible? Like, bad attitudes?
No, I've always been lucky enough to be the sort of chef that gets along with most people, nearly everybody. And I like to surround myself with good people. If it's not a good experience, then I don't go into it because life's too short to work with people you don't like.
Yeah.
And
Do you get angry in the kitchen?
no, not so much anymore. When I was a younger chef, I used to get a little bit more angry.
Yeah.
I think I'm a lot more in control of my emotional intelligence these days.
Was it something that just like evolved throughout the year, or
I
was
think
it something
it was more
you
of fashion, you know, but it was
Yeah.
like one of those things, that image of the chef yelling and screaming
Back in
and
the
carrying on
days.
back in the old days. When I see people doing that now, I just think to myself, oh my God, man, you've got to like,
Chill out.
you just got to
Chill
walk,
out.
get up, start walking straight, stop dragging your knuckles on the ground, you know.
Yeah.
We've evolved. We're not Neanderthals, you know, like you're never going to get anywhere, especially with the youth of today, by
yelling?
yelling
Yeah.
at them
'Cause
and
they're
making them
shut
feel
down.
bad.
I
They're just shut
agree.
down.
I agree.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You need to nurture people. You need to respect people and show them that they need to respect other people as well. And
Yeah.
if people start raising their voices in my kitchen, that's the first thing is like, guys, what's going on?
Yeah.
What's going on? There's no need for that. Like,
So you don't think the kitchen is a place for anger, and you don't have to be angry when you're working in a kitchen.
not at all.
No.
You get under pressure because there's small windows of opportunity where you're got a lot of pressure on. There's a lot going on, but it's just a question of going through process. And if you have proper processes in place, you understand that, then you know that no matter what's going on, no matter how much pressure comes, you just keep ticking along. You go through those processes. You don't take shortcuts, and you'll eventually just get through the process, and it will eventually finish. That's what happens. If you start going nuts and pulling your hair out and start yelling and screaming and losing your shit, then
not gonna work.
it's not going to work. You'll never get through it. Everyone else around you will lose their shit, and you're meant to be the leader. Everyone's watching you if you're the leader, and that's just not me. That's people that are my head chefs and whatever. And if one of my head chefs starts losing his shit or her shit, then it's like, well, mate, everyone else around you is watching you, and that's not good. It's like if you're on an aeroplane and the air stewards start running around screaming, going, oh my God,
Yeah.
what the hell are you going to think as a
Everyone's
passenger?
gonna panic.
You're going to freak the fuck out, aren't you?
Of course, yeah. You can swear
So-
easily here.
so-
Can you tell
uh,
straight away when a new person joins your team, if they've got the right attitude?
Well, maybe not always straight away, but I think people expose themselves pretty quickly.
Yeah.
People expose themselves pretty quickly, and I think that
I love this, man. People expose themselves
Yeah.
Well,
It's
You
powerful.
can't hide forever your true
no,
colours.
you think you can put it on for a little bit, but then you will ultimately just
The cracks will
you,
show.
you'll just you'll expose yourself. And if you're not the right person, you don't fit, and you haven't got the right attitude, then it will show. It may show in the first 3 days. It may show in the first 3 weeks.
Yeah.
It may even take 3 months. Some people are pretty clever.
Yeah.
But it will eventually just show, and it will go. And you know what? If it's better when it does show nice and early, because the wrong sort of people that don't fit within your team can bring other people down. You know, they can
Makes their experience
bring them along
worse.
on a worse journey, and then instead of losing one person, you might lose 3 people. You
Yeah.
know, and you don't want to do that. You want to make sure that everyone has a good experience and enjoys their experience, and at the same time understands that they need to be productive, and you know, we're all working towards a goal, you know, a common goal, which is
Do you
really
think
important.
it takes a certain type of person to work in hospitality successfully?
Yes, but I don't think you need to be a superhero. I think most people just need
Positive mindset.
that just a mindset, that little 1% more, you know, that 51% where you go, okay, I want to please others. I've got that in my
Yeah.
DNA. Most of us get taught that through our families. You know, when Zia comes around and, oh, quick, she's at the door, run, quick, open the door, and the best crockery
That's
comes out.
hospitality.
You know, the
Yeah.
best crockery comes out on the day where uncle and auntie are coming around, or kumpara's coming around, you know, and all of a sudden, you know, the kids are learning that, oh, they're special guests, we've got to look after them, we've got
Yeah.
to make sure we look after them, all the best stuff comes out for them,
That's what
you know.
love
Cup
is.
of coffee, this,
Yeah,
that.
all
Yeah.
of that, you know, and then all of a sudden you go, oh, you're a person that wants to be hospitable and look after other people, and that's all you really need. The rest
Yeah.
of it, the technical stuff like
It's not that
chopping
hard.
an onion, carrying a plate, you know, like it's
can
not
learn.
rocket science, mate.
No, it's
you know, we're
not.
not talking about, you know, brain surgery. We're just talking about that. You've got to have that will to be able to go, I really want to make you happy today.
Yeah.
And if you've got that, you can be great at hospitality.
Sometimes you do get clients, customers in not your restaurant, in restaurants that are actually rude, disrespectful. How do you deal with those things, considering that what you're saying now, you know, you have to please other people, make sure you're doing the right thing with all these people. How do you like manage to get through this? Because at the end of the day, you are also a human being. You have emotions, you know, you can get offended. Like, when do you draw the line?
Well, I think that happens anywhere, and it's not so much about me, it's more about my team, and I would hope that my team are trained people that don't lose the plot when somebody's a bit rude and a bit abrasive, but there are situations where it goes too far, and if somebody's doing that to one of my team members, and it has happened in the past, and it's very rare, but if I see it and I'm there, I will step in. And
Could you recall a situation? Maybe tell us about it.
I do recall the situation, and I don't want to make a big deal of it, but somebody was being very rude to a young person that had just started off and wasn't really fully experienced in our team, and it was a very busy day. There was an event on in Melbourne. It was a very busy day, and she was trying to organise a table for them, but somebody else got sat down before they did. They became very aggressive, and they started using language and yelling at this young lady in a very inappropriate manner. And I just pulled them aside and said, boys, this isn't on, right? And I sent the young lady out the back and said, just go out the back for 5 minutes. I'll be out to see you in a moment. And I said, you will get a table. It's very busy at the moment, but that behaviour is not tolerated. So if you calm down and stand there, I'll look after you personally and you'll have a good experience. or you can just continue to have a bad experience and make it a bad day for everybody. So they calmed down. They diffused the situation, which I was very surprised because I thought they might go the other way.
Yeah.
But I did get them a table, and we gave them VIP treatment, and they ended up thanking me on the way out and thanking the young girl and apologising to her
Brilliant.
profusely because of
That's
how
the best
he had
outcome.
behaved, the particular person had behaved, and realised that he'd just been, can I say, he'd been a dick.
Yeah.
And he realised it and just sort of went, I'm so sorry, I shouldn't have been like that. And the young person that was working with us was really concerned because she thought she'd done something wrong. And I said, you did nothing wrong. You did everything right. It was just a situation. It's been dealt with. So all you need to do now is understand that you're perfect in what you did. And she was fine after that and fantastic. And she stayed there for quite some time working with us. She was on a working holiday visa at the time, so she was only a 6-monther. But, you know, seeing people treated like that is not right in any environment, whether it be a business environment, a public environment, a domestic environment. You know, you just don't need that sort of behaviour.
You don't need the negativity.
Unnecessary, completely unnecessary. But in that case, it worked out well.
You turned it completely.
Well, it was lucky. It was lucky.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but you know, like you also had to get over yourself to be able to accommodate them. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I feel like a lot of people do struggle with that part. You know, I personally sometimes feel like if someone says something bad to one of my team, I take it personally, and it really takes me time to
You
like
gotta
calm
step back.
down and step back, not to answer them back and
Yeah,
try to
yeah.
solve the problem.
Let it diffuse first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I did do that, but I could have gone the other way and snapped and said, "Get the hell out of here,"
Correct.
and all of that. But I was luckily I controlled it and was in control of myself. But maybe, you know, if I had had another couple of bad things happen to me a few minutes before, it might have been a completely different story. I don't know, but you know.
On a completely different story, was there anything really nice that once happened that with a customer that you recall actually? Something
There's
like
been-
really that you felt, wow.
There's been some amazing moments in my career, too many to list actually, but from somebody sending me a card who was recovering from cancer, and we gave them a really nice time, and she kept in touch with me until the day she passed. And that was amazing. It comes to my mind, and she was a lovely lady who we looked after quite a few times and developed a relationship with. By her, she would come to the city to do her therapy and so forth, and then come to the restaurant and have some time with us when she was finished with that. So her husband and herself made it quite an event to come there, and then eventually she passed, and her husband wrote to me and told me about that. That was very sad, but also extremely special.
That's powerful.
Yeah.
That is powerful.
Creating these
Unbelievably powerful.
relationships.
And then but there's been many situations like that where we've developed great relationship with guests that have become very, very special friends. And that is very powerful as well. I remember the first time we shared this one little anecdote with you when we first came out of that long lockdown in Melbourne, that 6 or 7 month lockdown in Melbourne, and we were just getting ready to open, and it was exhausting. We didn't know whether we were Arthur or Martha, and we were getting ready to open, and the first customers came and sat down on the tables outside, and I walked out to greet them, and there were 2 of them there and myself, and the 3 of us started crying.
Wow.
The 3 of us started crying. I went to ask, I said to them, "Hello, welcome, you're our first guests. You're our first guest back," you know, from...
Wow.
And
That's
the 3
crazy.
of us broke down into tears. And it was so emotional. It was unbelievable. Because it was like we were coming back out of this abyss of
Life
crap.
had changed.
Yeah. Anyway,
That is
was-
powerful, man. Not
Yeah.
anyway. That's like a story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, that's a true story.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
True story.
Were you guys hit hard by COVID? Considering
Yeah, we were.
that you have many
We were
venues,
like
yeah.
we were closed down, so it was hard. But we were lucky. We sat around for a while and then decided we'd start up our Grossi a casa, which is Grossi for home, and we were lucky that that went very well. So it helped us get through. It gave us enough revenue to start just paying off supplier debt, and we didn't want our suppliers to suffer. I had to make all those hard phone calls and say, look, we can't pay you any of your bills. We owed a lot of money. Obviously, when you get shut down like that, there's a lot of bills
No
to pay
revenue.
and no revenue coming in. I had to make all those hard calls, and that was very emotional as well because a lot, most of them were like, just mate,
Were you scared?
don't worry about it. I was petrified at some points. Yeah, absolutely.
Would you say it's one of the most stressful?
it was a scary time. I
Yeah.
thought all this work, all these years, and we're staring down the barrel of maybe we're not going to come back from this.
Yeah.
But through everyone's hard work and like bit of planning and bit of creativity, we were able to, keep going and do the things we had to do and make it work. So it was good.
Was there like a moment in your career where you felt like shit is just going wrong and you were kind of panicking or
You can't
felt
see.
like fuck, this just feels like a rock bottom?
Well, that was it. I think
That was it.
there were times where I sat there with a bottle of wine and it was late at night and just thought to myself, where do you go from here? But again, it's just that whole notion of failure is not an option here. We need to keep going. We need to do something. We need to be creative. We need to just start doing something to fight back against this and make sure that we do survive. But it may have gone the other way. But we were lucky and we managed to get through.
Who do you talk to when you're at that mood?
I'm lucky I've got good family support. I used to talk to my dad a lot, but he's been gone a long time now. But he was the go-to guy that I'd ring. But nowadays I talk to my sister, my wife, my brother-in-law. I've got good family support and a couple of very good close friends in the industry as well that I confide in. Yeah, so yeah, that's who I talk to.
I love that, like, those
Family.
people you need, yeah.
Mhm.
You are an emotional person. I could feel it from your voice. Like you're all about family.
I am an emotional person. I'm very sensitive.
Yeah, me too.
I'm not that sensitive.
Aren't you?
No.
Oh,
She is. She just doesn't like to admit it.
that's scary.
Wow, that's brilliant. Let's
Wrap it up.
break it. No, let's break it up a little bit. We got a fantasy question we ask the guests usually. If time and place and no rules, no regulations, and you get to choose one person to do a collaboration with, dead, alive, celebrity, any person, who would that person be?
That's a hard one because there's so many people in the world that have done so much for our industry and other industries too. But
First one that came to your mind.
well, I was thinking of Gualtiero Marchesi. He just popped in my head because
Who is he? Tell us about him.
well, he's a very famous Italian chef who's now passed away, but he was a pioneer in bringing Italian food into a modern era. So he's one that I would think of, but it's so unfair because there's so many others that are out there that I would have loved to have had some time with or work with, and not just in our own industry. I mean, imagine spending some time in a room with people like Muhammad Ali and getting
That's-
his inspiration.
Yeah.
Love that. What made you choose Muhammad Ali?
I just love watching his interviews and his positive attitude and
Okay.
how he, he had people looked at him sometimes as just this boxer, but he was an intelligent man. He stood for something, and he knew how to win by not necessarily being stronger than his opponent physically, but by being stronger than his opponent mentally. And he just
Smart.
wore them down. He was just a clever man. So, but there's a list of people like that.
Do you like boxing?
I don't necessarily love it as a sport, but I've loved watching some of the boxing that has happened in the past.
Yeah.
I can understand why people find it confronting and quite barbaric, but
It's fun
you
to
know,
watch.
But it is fun to watch
Yeah.
a good fight.
It's a bit
obviously,
scary
yeah.
to watch too.
But it is scary, yeah.
Yeah.
So I get all that. But, watching some of those fights, where Muhammad Ali wore down his opponent by using his intelligence rather than just his physical brute ability, And I think that if you can master that, it's pretty bloody good,
What sports do you watch?
I watch the AFL, as we said before. I like to
Yeah.
watch Carlton lose football.
Yeah.
Any other sports?
Look, I get into a bit of the European football. I like
Yeah.
it. I love to watch a good game, but I must say I'm not a true aficionado. I don't follow it, and a little bit of the tennis. I like watching tennis
I love
too.
the tennis.
Yeah.
You were in the Australian Open with, in 2022, I think.
I've done a couple of events with the
Yeah.
Australian Open. Yeah,
Nice.
That's cool.
yeah,
That's
good.
In
amazing.
Melbourne.
Yeah, in
Yeah,
Melbourne.
yeah. Australian
yeah.
Open is in
Yeah,
Melbourne.
opposite
Yeah.
the MCG, right? Is
It's,
that where it is?
It's at the tennis centre, which is near the MCG. I've done a couple of events there at the Glass House, and I've been to a few of the things there. But it's an exciting tournament. Also, the Grand Prix, we've done heaps of stuff
You've
at the
done
Grand
that,
Prix,
yeah.
which is great. Yeah.
Do you like
Nice.
sandwiches?
I love a good sandwich.
Yeah. What's your favorite sandwich look like?
Yeah.
Well, there's a place in Florence called Il Vinaio, Antico Vinaio. You should look it up. They're in Rome now. They're in a few other places. They do this amazing focaccia sandwich.
I think I've
and
seen
it's
it.
filled with all these different things.
So if you had to make it, what would you put in?
Yeah,
it?
what would be the ingredients?
Definitely mortadella, probably pesto. I'd probably put mozzarella in there and some roasted peppers. I'd want it to ooze, or maybe you'd go down the porchetta path, because in Florence they do the most amazing porchetta sandwiches. So roasted porchetta inside there with some salsa verde and roasted peppers. Mamma mia.
And always focaccia. Is that what you say it, focaccia?
Well, no, focaccia's good too, but
I
you
love
could also have a
focaccias.
ciabatta.
Yeah, I think I
with the
prefer
porchetta.
ciabatta.
Ciabatta could be
Ciabatta.
beautiful as well. Yeah. All good though, all good.
Nice.
Oh, delicious.
Cool.
It's making me hungry.
Well, that was really nice, Guy.
Yeah, thanks
Thank
for
you
your
for
time,
talking
guy.
to me. Thank you for having me here. It's
We've
been
loved
lovely.
having you on.
Thanks for
Great,
coming.
thank you.
We really appreciate
And
it.
we're looking forward to coming to Florentino.
Well, you know my
Aren't
number.
we, Billy?
Let's do
You've
it.
got my
Yeah.
number, baby. Let me know.
Thank you very much, Guy. We really
Cheers.
appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Guys. Thank you.
All right. Let's wrap it. Thanks, Guy.
Ooh.
My